How was the response today in practice after everything that happened last night?
It was good. I think the conversation we had was good. I think being aware of where we are is helpful to us moving forward. So there's a commitment to guys to do that.
You said last night that what happened in the locker room, but saying the locker room, obviously it didn't overly. Is that a concern for you?
It's disappointing. We addressed that as well. And what everybody should be aware of, and the feel that we have here, and what we're trying to do is, this is year one of a program that we're trying to build. Obviously it's got core players and guys who have been here, but with the support of Robert and the front office, they've given us an opportunity to build a program, and through that discomfort comes, and there's tough times that happen, but it's not something where we feel like we're going to skip steps in building a culture and a program that can lead to sustained success, and that's our goal and that's our objective. So there are some ups and downs in that. There's some difficult times and decisions that have to be made in order for us to get to where we want to be. And right now we're going through that, but nothing will change with these guys. We are competitive. Look at these games, and fourth quarters, most of them were there with an opportunity. So there's small things that we can fix and tweak, and the results will probably be a little different.
You said last night that that the conversation that was had in the locker room was not about X's and O's primarily. It was beyond X's and O's. Were you alluding to the incident that subsequently got reported, or were you alluding to something beyond that?
No, I mean, the conversation was about dealing with adversity and the difference between, what was going on when we were 12-5 and what's going on now. And, again, when your intent is to build something that's long lasting, through good times and bad times, your attitudes, your habits, all those things have to be consistent. If we're inconsistent emotionally and how we interact with one another, then you'll have those types of, you'll have those moments and seasons where those stretches last longer. If you're consistent in your approach and attitude and emotions, you're going to have down times, but you'll get out of them quicker. And that's where we are, right now, and that's what the conversation was about, is, how do we fix the problem, and how do we fix the results? What can we do as a group to help one another? And that's our only intent and the only purpose that we have here.
Even after the altercation that got reported, did you leave the meeting feeling better than when you walked in, after the game?
Yeah, I mean, because I believe, heavily in communication. And, if you sit and allow things to fester, things only get worse. So it was important for us to have that conversation and, come to some resolution. And I think we did that.
Is what happened last night beyond the usual turmoil you see during the season, or is this just something behind the scenes?
Yeah, it happens.
What kind of response do you hope to see from the team tomorrow when they get back out there?
The response that we've typically had as a group, that resilient, fight, bounce back, never give in. You think about, some of the games that we won, in difficult situations. We go back to the Milwaukee game, being down 8 in the fourth quarter on the road against a very good team. Having the spirit and the enthusiasm to come back. For us, it's about finding that, enthusiasm and that spirit. And it's difficult because, human nature tells you, in tough times, that you get down emotionally, and it's not easy to wake up, every single morning with that spirit that it takes, especially as losses start to pile up. And, it's what we have to do. It's the challenge that we accept. But the fun part about it is, how do you motivate 15 guys to do the same thing? And, each guy is dealing with his own, emotion or sense of purpose, or, if there's doubt, and our responsibility as coaches and teammates is to find how we get, each other to where we want to be. And, I talked about early in the year how fun this group was to be around, and that hasn't changed. These guys are every single day, regardless of the result, the film session, the hard coaching, no matter what it is, they show up, they go to work, and, other places, these situations come about where teams, get in a rut, and it's a fracture that happens, and people go their separate ways, and there's no way out. These guys haven't done that. They've consistently tried to find a way out, and that's where we are right now. And, we'll get it figured out. There's not a doubt in my mind. These guys are two high-quality character basketball players, teammates, to allow these struggles to keep happening.
Does part of you want to see that kind of emotion, even if it comes to blows from the teammates sometimes, just so to know that that feeling and that fire is there to try to get a change?
It's important to know that people care, and you don't get emotional if you don't care. So, whatever happens, with the right reasoning, you can appreciate it more, if that makes sense. But, guys are involved. They're heavily involved. We don't just go home and all this stuff is shaken off. And, that's when it matters. And it's important to them. And I think that's, those are the guys you want to be with.
Last night, Marcus Finder taking a more vocal role. Conley said something similar. Has the season at times been a challenge for them figuring out the right approach to handling certain aspects of being the de facto leaders?
Yeah, I think it's again, when you're doing something different and something new, and you look at, the amount of change and turnover from last year to this year, relationships take time to build. I think people kind of forgot, where we truly were because of the start that we got off to. People forgot we were new to one another. People, need to remember, until you are with somebody in a trench, facing adversity, how you respond to one another and how you help somebody else who's having one of those moments. You have to learn that, and that comes from experience. And, that's what we're learning right now. Everything is always gravy when you're winning. People, overlook stuff. But, again, with the intent of building, something where we can sustain success, you can't skip steps. And facing adversity, with your teammates and with your group is part of the steps. And, it's tough. It's difficult. I want people to, think about, the reality of who these guys are. I know a lot of times they look 7 feet and bulletproof, but they're human beings with real emotions too. And, you'd be surprised at how much these guys care about this job, and they care about one another, and they care about the reason why they do what they do. There's a lot of, great things that come with the game of basketball, obviously, but those guys put the Grizzlies jersey on with pride. And we all care about, the fans who support us, the people who go out of their way, with their financial commitment, or, people's children that look up to these guys. Like, they care about that a ton. And, it matters. So when you have that type of, emotion and, care about something, sometimes, difficult things happen, and then you're going through tough times with that weight on your shoulders. It makes it, it bothers you that much more. So, if guys didn't care, I'd be concerned.
Seems like moving on to the next opportunity tomorrow night. Talk about the Nets. So what are the biggest challenges that they bring?
The speed at which they play, the athleticism that they have, the pressure that they can put on you from an individual skill set. They got guys that can break you down off the bounce. They got guys who can catch and shoot it. And again, they play at a speed where you feel like you're chasing them constantly, and they have, the ability to score in bunches. So, being solid in what we do, defensively is going to be key, making sure we, continue to improve on the defensive boards and contain, guys who have the capability of going off.